Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today I've got a game in the T54E1 for you. For those who don't know this tank, this is an American 8.0 medium tank. It's a premium and it has an oscillating turret with a drum loading 105mm gun in it. You get three ammo types. There is Heat FS, there is AP, and there is an APDS round. I've not opted to bring any of the APDS, although I may rethink that decision in the future. Now the battle you're seeing here is Advance to the Rhine. It's full up tier, and it's only my second outing in this vehicle. It was added in the previous patch, but I've not taken it out until now. So I'm going to try and exercise a bit of caution as I don't know quite what to expect. And there's going to be some bigger tanks, such as this IS-7 here. First shot intended for his upper plate, but he swung his barrel in the way. Second one, follow up. Although it says I only killed his driver, that was an ammo rack shot. It's right there behind the upper plate. And Heat FS does not have any problems getting through that. So that's one down already. He is the same battle rating as me, but I still consider him to be a pretty big threat, really. I've been playing over in the west a little more lately than I normally would, partly just from some of the people I've been playing with have been favouring this area, so I've been coming over here to accompany them. And I think it's good to practice different areas of the map, adapt to different situations. Now there is something moving down there. I have seen the movement. There he goes. Here's a T55AM, that's an 8.7 tank. Managed to get his track, but he's already around the corner. And there's another T10M just around the corner from me there. Just as the IS-7 shoot for the upper plate, end up getting a slight deflection into the turret front and taking out his breech and barrel, and then follow it up with a shot to the upper plate to kill him. The heat on this is honestly really good. First game I took out the AP as the primary shell and didn't really like the results I got. Didn't seem to pen as much as I was hoping, so I've swapped to using heat as the primary for this second match and it's going a lot better. I can see the T-55's machine gun moving over the other side of this little platform. He hasn't spotted me. So we'll drive up. One into the front, although I did actually intend to hit his lower plate, it still went through the upper plate even on that extreme angle. Took out his driver, and you could even see the sheer size of the spall cone from this heat round now. Actually went outside the tank as well as in. It is huge damage from the Heat FS shell, really. I was expecting the AP round to be the damaging one, thinking slightly less pen but a much bigger cone of internal damage. And it probably still would do more, but I've not found it that reliable for penning, certainly not as much as I'd like. So now that I've taken the A-cap, what I want to do is park myself up relatively safely if I can. I do have a suspicion there might be something coming around behind us, but the main reason I'm staying here is to refill my drum. You can see the ready rack symbol at the bottom of the screen, which is trying to fill the drum with shells from elsewhere in my tank. But if you sit on a cap with a drum loader and wait for your ammunition to refill, it will fill the drum first before it fills it into any of the other racks. So it's a much quicker way to refill those missing shells and get yourself back to full fighting strength. Now I did see an engine drive around the corner at the far end of this road. I did not, however, see that T-54 until I started backing up to look for the first target. Thankfully he didn't see me either, so one shot to the back of the turret is nice and quick. And in the meantime he has decapped it by driving through, and our warrior is engaging the tank down the road. So I'm just going to back onto this and let's retake it. That's more points for me, it's more research, and it's going to progress us towards the win again. Now the warriors managed to take out the T-62, so all immediate threats are dealt with. It's a pretty small game. It's actually only 9 aside, which is pretty small in the grand scheme of things, as the maximum size for battles is 16v16. Now to touch on the drum loader of this tank again, it is 9 shots before it's emptied. Once it's emptied, you have to sit and wait for the shells to be moved back into the drum from the other ammo racks. It's a 5-second loading time between each shot. So you can run out quite quickly if you just continuously fire. I haven't managed to run out yet, but again, I've been trying to play around cap points probably a little more than I normally would. Just in a bit of a conscious effort to try and keep my drum as loaded as I can at all times. Now we are losing the C point, and there are seemingly a lot of tanks over here. We have a chieftain sat on top of the rubble in the middle of the map. It's a good spot if you can keep your wits about you, stop people from creeping up. It's one I used to favour myself quite a lot. It's got some good line of sight over that eastern side, so hopefully he can stop a few enemies advancing towards C. They've taken it, and we've lost the warrior near A, so things aren't looking too great for us. I can't see anything on the C point just yet. I was intending to move over there and go and see if I could retake it and clear it, but if we've lost A, or are about to lose A I should say, then I want to go and stop that. I've been staying with the A point so far this game, and I'd rather not give it up just yet. It's currently only me and the chieftain outside of our sort of spawn areas, so support is a bit slim. They are on the A cap. The chieftain just managed to shoot a T55 that stuck in between us. I certainly didn't notice him while focused over here. It's time to move in and see if we can prevent them from getting hold of this, or at least get rid of them for doing so. I was just too late to move onto the cap. I hesitated too long trying to check for the enemy's position. Now whoever was here has already left the cap, it's already decapping, and I can just see the engine smoke ahead moving around that corner. So there's a high potential they'll know I'm here, and I don't really want to get myself killed if I can avoid it. There's a good line of sight down that side road there off to my left, where I could get shot in the side or rear if I try and pursue that enemy. So I'm going to stay with the cap, assume that he will loop around, and I want to be prepared for him. I'm going to go back up to the opposite corner and keep an eye on that road. At least that's the intent. Chieftain's just pinged another T54. So peek out, aiming just under the turret, that's 2 crew down, and there's the ammo rack I was initially intending. That's the enemy back that I expected. T54E1 did get back a little sooner than I'd like. Just trying to use this wreck to hide my honestly quite large turret. Machine guns aren't kicking up quite as much smoke as I'd like, certainly not as much as it feels when I get hit by them. But he chose to back out, so shot into his engine, and I'm assuming that must have been a fuel explosion. No other real explanation for how he got taken out there. Now we do have a Centurion around this corner who's repairing, so I'm assuming something shot him in the engine. Just wanted to stop and check the combat log, see if something set him on fire. Maybe I can figure out if I've already killed it. Could have been very risky. Thankfully the LA-7 missed his bombs, as I wasn't trying to escape from them. But the A-cap is once more under our control. There is the Centurion who can potentially guard it. I feel like going over to C right now is a good move. There's a few of our players heading back there from our spawn. There's one going around the far side street, although he doesn't actually appear to be moving. There are 2 coming down the main road towards C. If I can approach from another direction, we have a much better chance of taking control of it. Of course, might be a bit better if I did it quietly. That's another couple of enemies down. Oh, neither of them is at C point. There is one just down this road, it's a heavy. No idea exactly what heavy yet, but he's fighting the Falcon. Someone else moving in behind him. But in spite of the smoke, I can see him. Shot into the side of his turret, and that's another T10 down. Again, excuse the random pop-ups. This was taken during stream, as with most of my recent footage. But that should be the C point cleared. and we can get to work on retaking it. My drum isn't too empty, so I'm not really feeling a need to go and sit on there, although it would be good to top it up as often as possible. We've got 3 people here, it doesn't really need me, and A could probably do with the reinforcements, so I'll head over there. And as it turns out, the ready rack symbol has disappeared from the bottom of the screen, so I don't actually need any more ammo in the clip regardless. I want to be a little cautious moving back this way. Obviously there's always a chance something could slip through regardless, but the chieftain that's been watching the centre of the map has now pushed up, so there is a chance that something might have gone through since he moved. As mentioned before, it is a fairly small game. In some ways I like it, as it gives me a bit more breathing room. I'm less likely to be fighting, sort of 3-4 people at once. But it also means it's harder to cover the whole map. Is S30 not exactly a target I expect to see at this battle rating? But he is still capable of penning me around my turret. There's not that much armour on the little oscillating overlaps at the bottom of it, and he could probably get through and break my breach, so thankfully managed to get my gun steady in time. And it looks like I arrived just in time anyway. My decision to come back was the right one. We have lost the Centurion, and there is something on the A cap. There we go, another T54. Hasn't seemed to notice me, so peek out. Didn't really feel like there was time for a scoped in shot there, and that's when we start hitting the panic. I don't quite know how my first one bounced off his lower plate. That was a perfectly fine shot as far as I can tell. My second one was pretty terrible. It was just yeah, blind panic shot. Thankfully he'd missed his as well. But as mentioned before, the 5-second clip reload does allow me to get off quite a few shots before he can fight back. And the heat allows me to hull break. Poor chieftain came over here to try and help me and ended up getting hit in the side by that ZSU. So a good thing from my perspective is I wouldn't have known he was there otherwise. So it allowed me to turn around and get the kill instead of getting a death. But obviously not really that great for the chieftain. So I've rekept A for the 4th time. My drum is currently half empty. There's a ZSU 57 driving to B. A nice sneaky shot through there. Always got to keep trying to pay as much attention as I can to the minimap, to the kill feed, seeing where people are dying. That's one of these places where having a small game does help. There's a little less to keep my attention drawn away, and I can actually pay attention to those things. I should really be able to do it anyway. I've played this game enough that these things should be second nature to me now. But I do find myself getting tunnel visioned, well, more than I should. 4 kills, 10 caps, and the enemy team is starting to run out of players. We've just about taken this game under control, and I'm going to tuck in and wait to defend A. A task that, as it turns out, wasn't needed. No one else ever showed up. We managed to take the B point, and that's game over. 10 kills, 4 caps, 1 assist. And so a quick look at the end results. With the fact it's a premium vehicle and a tier 5 premium vehicle at that, premium account, and the latest RP changes in the last patch, 22,000 RP, that is a huge amount. Being alive right to the end of the game certainly makes a big difference. 156,000 lions is certainly nothing to be coughed at either. A good solid performance, although obviously not something to expect from every battle. There's always going to be some luck involved regardless. I do think from this game and a couple of others I played with it, it does certainly have a lot of potential. It does seem to be a good tank. Win rate hasn't been too good for me, and I think honestly the bulk of that has been down to the new addition of helicopters to the game. Virtually every game we lost was one that involved a large chunk of our team starting in a helicopter. And despite the new spawn system changes, a helicopter does still take all of your starting spawn points, so if you die in it, and it's pretty likely you do die, then you're not going to be coming back. So having half your team out early on is, well, it certainly drags down the tank's overall performance, which is a shame because it's definitely a very good vehicle. Now there will be another video on this soon. I do have some more footage already lined up. Just didn't want to make this video too long. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.